The bustling interstellar port of Tithara was always a cacophony of alien dialects and the thrum of starship engines. Marcus strolled through the market, his gaze absorbing the vivid colors of stalls laden with exotic fruits and spices from 100 worlds. He had a rare day off from his job as a physiotherapist specializing in interspecies treatments, and he intended to enjoy every minute of it. As he navigated through the crowd, a sudden commotion caught his attention. A group had gathered around a figure on the ground. Curiosity piqued, Marcus edged closer and saw an alien woman, her delicate blue skin contrasting sharply against the gray paving stones. She clutched her leg, pain evident in her luminous eyes. "Can someone help her?" Marcus called out to the bystanders, but they just shrugged or looked away, unwilling or unable to assist. Stepping forward, Marcus knelt beside her. "I'm Marcus, a physiotherapist. May I help you?" he asked, his voice calm and reassuring. The alien woman looked up, her expression wary yet hopeful. "I'm Alira," she replied, her voice tinged with pain. "I twisted my leg. It's nothing serious, but it hurts to walk." "Let's take a look," Marcus said, as he gently examined her leg. He noticed the swelling and a slight discoloration that suggested a sprain rather than a break. "You'll need to keep weight off this for a little while. Do you have somewhere nearby where you can rest?" Alira shook her head. "I was supposed to meet a friend, but I don't think I can walk there now. Let me help you to my clinic. It's not far from here, and I can treat your sprain more thoroughly," Marcus offered. With a grateful nod, Alira accepted his support. Together, they made their way through the bustling streets, Marcus supporting her weight as they walked. The physical closeness brought a sense of camaraderie, and Alira's initial hesitation faded. "Is it often this busy here?" Alira asked, looking around with interest despite her discomfort. "Always," Marcus chuckled. "Tethara is a hub for traders and travelers from across the galaxy. You get used to the chaos." As they reached his clinic, Marcus helped Alira settle onto a treatment table. The clinic was a small, clean space filled with medical equipment and a few plants that added a touch of greenery. "Do you often treat Tishavi patients?" Alira inquired, curious about his familiarity with her anatomy. "Not often, but I've studied various alien anatomies to better serve the community here," Marcus explained as he began the ultrasound therapy to reduce the swelling. "Each species brings a new challenge, but I find it rewarding to learn and help where I can." Alira watched him work, impressed by his gentle, expert touch. "You must love your work to learn so much about others," she remarked. "It's fascinating," Marcus admitted, "and every patient teaches me something new about not just medicine, but life and cultures beyond my own." Their conversation drifted from the treatment to their interests and experiences in Tethara, building a connection that went beyond patient and healer. As Marcus wrapped her leg with a supportive bandage, he knew this chance meeting could be the start of a remarkable friendship. "Thank you, Marcus. I didn't expect to find help so readily today," Alira said as she tested the weight on her leg. "Glad I could help," Marcus smiled. "How about I buy you a coffee? You can tell me more about where you're from, and I'll make sure you're steady on your feet before you leave." Accepting his offer, Alira smiled back. As they headed to a nearby cafe, both felt the promising stir of newfound friendship, an unexpected gift in the vast galaxy. The local cafe was a cozy nook situated just 2 blocks from Marcus's clinic, known for its wide selection of brews from across the galaxy. As they settled into the corner booth with steaming cups in front of them, the atmosphere relaxed further, fostering an easy dialogue between Marcus and Alira. "So, Alira, what brings you to Tithara?" Marcus inquired, genuinely curious about her story. "I'm actually here on trade negotiations for my people," Alira responded, her face lighting up with a mix of pride and responsibility. "I represent the Tishavi agricultural sector. We're trying to establish new trade routes for our biocrops." "That sounds impressive. Must be a lot of pressure, though," Marcus noted, sipping his coffee. "It is. Negotiations can be taxing, and there's always so much riding on the outcome," she admitted, then smiled wryly. "Which might explain why I ended up twisting my ankle today. Too much running around." Marcus laughed. "Well, I'm glad you ran into me. How's your leg feeling now?" "Much better, thanks to you. I'm really grateful, Marcus. Not everyone would have stepped in to help a stranger, especially from another species," Alira said, her tone warm with gratitude. Marcus waved off the compliment. "It's just what I do. Plus, I believe helping each other is how we make these busy spaces a little friendlier." Their conversation shifted from personal stories to cultural exchanges about human and Tishavi lifestyles. Marcus was particularly interested in the Tishavi approach to medicine, which intertwined with their deep spiritual beliefs and rituals. Intriguing, Marcus mused. Human medicine is typically more clinical, though personally I try to incorporate holistic practices when I can. It's all about balance, isn't it? Exactly, Alira agreed. Physical ailments often have deeper roots, and healing can sometimes be a spiritual journey as well. As the hours slipped by, the cafe began to empty, the sky outside tinting with the colors of sunset. Marcus checked his watch and then looked at Alira, a hesitant offer on his lips. I don't want to overstep, but if you'd like, I could give you a full therapeutic session tomorrow at my clinic. No charge, just a friendly offer to make sure you're at your best for your negotiations. Alira considered this, then nodded. I would appreciate that, Marcus. And maybe in return, I could give you a little insight into Tashavi healing practices. It could be beneficial for your work. Deal, Marcus responded, pleased with the mutual exchange. They agreed to meet the next morning, and as they left the cafe, there was a comfortable ease between them, a promise of friendship that seemed to effortlessly bridge the gap between their worlds. Marcus walked Alira back to her accommodation, ensuring she made it safely. As they parted, they both felt an anticipatory thrill for what the next day would bring, not just in terms of healing, but for the deeper understanding of each other's worlds. The next morning, Marcus's clinic was bathed in the soft light of dawn, casting a tranquil ambiance over the room where Alira was soon to arrive. He had spent the early hours preparing his equipment, ensuring everything was set for a thorough therapeutic session. His mind occasionally drifted to their conversation from the previous day, pondering the cultural insights Alira had promised to share. Promptly at the agreed time, Alira walked through the door, her expression a mixture of relief and anticipation. Good morning, Marcus. It seems quieter in here than out there, she remarked, gesturing towards the bustling street visible through the front windows. Good morning. Yes, it's a little oasis of calm, Marcus replied with a smile. Ready to start? Alira nodded, settling onto the therapy table. As Marcus began the session, he used a combination of light touch and ultrasound, methods he'd explained would help heal her sprain more effectively. You might feel a slight tingling sensation, but it shouldn't be painful, he informed as he adjusted the settings on his equipment. As the session progressed, Alira relaxed, her initial stiffness fading. The quiet hum of the machine filled the room, accompanied by the occasional soft murmur from Alira indicating where she felt tension. After the ultrasound, Marcus began a more hands-on approach, carefully manipulating the muscles around her ankle. The Tashavi physiology is fascinating, he commented. Your muscle fibers respond differently than humans. It's a good learning experience for me. I'm glad to hear that, Alira said, a hint of amusement in her voice. And I'm feeling much better thanks to you. Maybe you should consider specializing in Tashavi anatomy. Marcus chuckled. Maybe I should. The room fell into a comfortable silence, each focused on the moment. As the session neared its end, Marcus spoke up again. How about we go through some Tashavi healing practices now? I'm quite curious about your techniques. Of course, Alira agreed, sitting up. She began explaining her culture's holistic approach, which emphasized the alignment of physical and spiritual health. Fascinated, Marcus listened intently, his eyes never leaving hers as she spoke. As the morning slipped away, the professional boundary that usually separated them began to blur. Drawn together by their shared passion for healing, they found themselves discussing deeper, more personal beliefs about life and existence. The clinic, usually a place of formal healing, transformed into a space where two vastly different individuals shared vulnerabilities and dreams. The connection deepened, and without quite planning it, Marcus found his hand covering Alira's. She looked at him, surprise registering on her face, but she didn't pull away. Instead, she moved her hand to affirm the contact, her touch gentle. Looking into each other's eyes, they both felt an undeniable pull, a curiosity and attraction that went beyond professional interest. Marcus hesitated, aware of the potential complications. Alira, Shh, she whispered, her voice soft but firm. I know. But isn't it rare, Marcus, to find someone who truly sees you? In that moment, driven by the rare connection they felt, they chose to explore their feelings. The clinic, once a backdrop for healing, became witness to a delicate, burgeoning relationship. As they embraced, both understood the risks, but were unwilling to forsake the surprising comfort they found in each other. The morning unfolded into an exploration of shared emotions, marking a pivotal chapter in their lives. The aftermath of their intimate encounter left Marcus and Alira in a complex web of emotions. As the days turned into weeks, they continued their professional and personal interactions, aware of the delicate balance they maintained. Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that their connection was special, and Alira shared the sentiment, though neither spoke openly about it. One morning, however, Alira arrived at the clinic with a troubled expression. "Marcus, I need to talk to you," she said, her voice edged with tension. "Of course, Alira. What's wrong?" Marcus asked, his concern immediate. I've been feeling strange lately," she admitted, sitting down heavily on the therapy table. "At first, I thought it was just stress from the negotiations, but it's more than that." Marcus's heart quickened. "What do you mean?" Alira hesitated, then met his gaze. "I think I might be pregnant." The words hung in the air, a shockwave that Marcus couldn't immediately process. "Pregnant?" he echoed, disbelief mingling with confusion. "But how?" "I don't know," Alira said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Our species are not supposed to be compatible like this. I've never heard of a Tashavi conceiving with a human. It's biologically unprecedented." Marcus sat down beside her, his mind racing. "We need to confirm this. There's a medical center in the city with advanced diagnostics. We should go there now." The trip to the medical center was a blur, a whirlwind of anxiety and anticipation. The staff, accustomed to unusual cases in Tathara's diverse population, conducted the necessary tests with professional efficiency. Hours later, they sat in a private room, waiting for the results. The door finally opened, and Dr. Callan, a human doctor with expertise in xenobiology, entered with a grave expression. "Marcus, Alira," she began, holding a data pad. "The tests are conclusive. Alira is indeed pregnant, and the embryo is a hybrid of human and Tashavi DNA. This is unprecedented." Alira's face paled, and Marcus felt a rush of emotions, shock, fear, and a strange sense of awe. "How is this possible, Dr. Callan?" he asked. "We're not entirely sure," she admitted. "There are a few theories. It's possible that the unique combination of human and Tashavi biochemistry during your treatment sessions triggered something that allowed conception. We need to conduct further research." The news spread quickly, igniting a firestorm of controversy. The interstellar media descended upon Tathara, drawn by the sensational story. Human and Tashavi governments, both unprepared for such an event, responded with caution and, in some cases, hostility. Marcus found himself under intense scrutiny. Accusations of unethical behavior and abuse of his medical position swirled around him, threatening to ruin his career and freedom. The once bustling clinic became a place of siege, with reporters and officials constantly seeking access. One evening, as Marcus sat in his now quiet clinic, the door opened, and Lien, a human geneticist and an old friend, walked in. "Marcus, I've heard what's happening. This is serious." "I know, Leon," Marcus replied, exhaustion evident in his voice. "I don't know what to do." "We need to prove that this wasn't some reckless act," Leon said firmly. "I've been working with Soren, a Tashavi biologist. We believe there's a scientific explanation for this, and if we can find it, we might be able to clear your name and, more importantly, ensure Alira's safety." Together, Marcus, Leon, and Soren delved into the mystery of Alira's pregnancy. Their research led them to ancient Tashavi texts and forbidden genetic data, uncovering fragments of knowledge about interspecies compatibility that had long been suppressed or forgotten. Meanwhile, Alira faced her own battles. The Tashavi community was divided. Some viewed her pregnancy as an abomination, a threat to their purity, while others saw it as a miraculous possibility. She sought refuge in a secluded part of the city, supported by a few close allies who believed in her right to choose her own path. One evening, Marcus managed to visit Alira's hideout. They embraced, the weight of the world pressing down on them. "We're getting closer to understanding what happened," he told her, his voice determined. "But it's not just about clearing my name. It's about our future and our child's future." Alira looked at him, tears in her eyes. "I never imagined it would be like this, Marcus. But I believe in us, and I believe in what we're doing." As they held each other, a renewed sense of purpose filled the room. They knew the road ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, but their bond, forged in unexpected love and resilience, would guide them through the storm. The days that followed were a blur of tension and mounting pressure. Marcus and Alira knew that staying in Tathara was no longer safe. The media frenzy and governmental scrutiny had escalated to the point where their every move was monitored. Something had to be done, and quickly. One night, under the cover of darkness, Marcus and Alira gathered a few essentials and prepared to leave. Leon and Soren had helped arrange their escape, securing passage to a remote human outpost on the edge of explored space. There, they hoped to find a sanctuary where they could continue their research and ensure the safety of their unborn child. "Are you sure about this?" Alira asked, her voice tinged with uncertainty as they prepared to leave the only place she had known for months. Marcus took her hand, his grip firm and reassuring. "It's our best chance, Alira. We can't stay here and risk everything. We need to protect our child." With a final glance at the clinic that had been his home and haven, Marcus led Alira through the dimly lit streets to the spaceport. Leon and Soren were waiting, their expressions a mix of worry and resolve. "Everything's ready," Leon said, handing Marcus a small data chip. "This contains all the research we've gathered so far. Keep it safe." "Thank you, Leon. We owe you both so much," Marcus replied, his voice thick with emotion. "Just stay safe and keep in touch. We'll continue working from here and do everything we can to support you," Soren added, his alien features solemn. With one last embrace, Marcus and Alira boarded the small freighter that would take them away from Tithara. As the ship lifted off, they watched the city's lights fade into the distance, leaving behind the chaos and uncertainty for an unknown future. The journey to the remote outpost was long and arduous. The freighter's crew, sympathetic to their plight, provided them with basic accommodations. The outpost, a small but self-sufficient settlement on the planet Epsilon Theta, was a stark contrast to the bustling metropolis of Tithara. Here, the stars shone brighter and the pace of life was slower, offering a much-needed respite. Upon arrival, they were greeted by Dr. Elena Martinez, the outpost's chief medical officer. "Welcome to Epsilon Theta," she said warmly. "We've been expecting you. You'll be safe here." "Thank you, Dr. Martinez. We're grateful for your help," Marcus responded, relief evident in his voice. "Call me Elena. Let's get you settled in," she replied, guiding them to their new quarters. The living quarters were modest but comfortable, with a small lab where they could continue their research. As the days turned into weeks, Marcus and Alira began to adapt to their new life. The outpost's community, though small, was welcoming. People were curious about their story, but respectful of their privacy. Marcus resumed his work as a physiotherapist, offering his skills to the residents, while Alira focused on her pregnancy and their ongoing research. One evening, as they sat on the veranda of their quarters, watching the twin suns set over the horizon, Alira turned to Marcus. "Do you think we'll ever be able to go back?" Marcus sighed, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "I don't know, Alira, but we'll make the most of what we have here. We have each other, and we have our child to look forward to. That's what matters." Their research continued to yield fascinating insights into the unique genetic makeup of their child. The data chip Leon had given them proved invaluable, providing a foundation for their studies. They discovered that the combination of human and Tishavi DNA had created a hybrid with unprecedented potential. The implications for both species were profound, but they knew that revealing their findings would have to be handled with utmost care. Despite the relative safety of their new home, the threat of discovery and the consequences that might follow loomed large. They communicated regularly with Leon and Soren, who kept them informed of developments back on Tithara. The political climate remained volatile, with factions on both sides debating the significance of Alira's pregnancy and what it meant for interspecies relations. One night, as they worked late into the evening, a message from Leon arrived. "We've made a breakthrough," it read. "The data suggests that the unique conditions of your treatment sessions, combined with the specific genetic markers you both possess, facilitated the conception. This could change everything." Marcus and Alira exchanged hopeful glances. Their work was far from over, but this breakthrough offered a glimmer of hope for the future. They knew that one day they might be able to return to Tithara, not as fugitives, but as pioneers of a new understanding between their species. Until then, they would continue their work, driven by the love they shared and the extraordinary child they were about to bring into the world. As they embraced, watching the stars above, they felt a renewed sense of purpose. Their journey had taken them far from where they had begun, but together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. As months passed at the outpost, Marcus and Alira's lives settled into a routine punctuated by research breakthroughs and preparation for their child's arrival. The community of Epsilon Theta became their extended family, showing an eagerness to support and protect them from the turbulence left behind on Tithara. However, as Alira's due date approached, the external pressures began to mount again. Word of their situation had inevitably spread through the galaxy, reaching both supportive and hostile ears. While many in the scientific community expressed a keen interest in the potential for interspecies understanding, others viewed the unborn child as a threat to the purity of their species. One quiet evening, as Marcus was closing up his clinic, Dr. Martinez approached him with an urgent expression. "Marcus, we need to talk. There's been an increase in unsanctioned ships entering this sector. I'm concerned that not all of them come with good intentions." Marcus's heart sank. "Do you think they're coming for us?" "It's possible," Elena replied. "We knew this peace might not last forever. I've taken the liberty of increasing our security measures, but you and Alira need to be extra cautious." Grateful for her foresight, but worried about the implications, Marcus thanked her and headed home. That night, he discussed the situation with Alira. They decided to increase their vigilance and minimize their exposure outside their home. Despite the outpost's remoteness, they could not afford to take any chances. Days turned into weeks, and one crisp morning, Alira went into labor. The entire community rallied around them, providing everything needed for a safe delivery. With Elena's expert assistance, Alira gave birth to a healthy baby girl they named Tali, a blend of both their heritages in name and nature. Tali was a beautiful symbol of unity, with her father's human eyes and her mother's Tashavi blue skin. Her birth was celebrated by the outpost's residents, but the news also reignited controversy across the galaxy. Debates raged about the implications of her existence for human and Tashavi relations. Despite the joy of new parenthood, Marcus and Alira had little time to rest. They knew they had to continue their advocacy for interspecies understanding and cooperation. Using the communications array at the outpost, they shared their findings and Tali's story with select media outlets and academic forums, hoping to sway public opinion. Their efforts were met with mixed reactions. Messages of support poured in from many corners of the galaxy, while threats and condemnations also made their way to their doorstep. The stakes were higher than ever, but Marcus and Alira were determined to fight for their daughter's future. Amidst this tumult, a group of human supremacists tried to infiltrate the outpost, intent on kidnapping Tali to prevent any further contamination of the human gene pool. Their attempt was foiled by the quick response of the outpost's security team, coordinated by Elena and supported by community volunteers. After the failed kidnapping, the need for a safer environment became undeniable. Marcus and Alira made the difficult decision to move once again, this time to a more secure and undisclosed location provided by a coalition of intergalactic human rights organizations dedicated to protecting interspecies families. Their departure from Epsilon Theta was bittersweet. They were leaving behind friends and a community that had become like family, but they knew it was necessary to ensure Tali's safety. In their new home, hidden away from those who wished them harm, Marcus and Alira continued their work. They focused on documenting Tali's development, hoping that her existence would serve as living proof of the possible harmony between species. As they adapted to their new circumstances, the little family found peace in their isolation. Tali grew healthy and strong, her laughter filling their home with hope. Marcus and Alira, though wary of the challenges ahead, were optimistic. They believed that the knowledge they shared about Tali and the unity she represented could someday help bridge the vast divides between species. Their story, a testament to love and resilience in the face of adversity, continued to inspire those who dreamed of a more inclusive galaxy. As they watched Tali play, Marcus and Alira made a silent vow to protect her and the future she symbolized, no matter what it took. In their secure new home, Marcus and Alira watched with pride and amazement as their daughter Tali grew. Each day brought new discoveries and joys, from Tali's first words, a mix of human and Tashavi linguistic sounds, to her first steps, which she took with a boldness that delighted her parents. As Tali thrived, so did Marcus and Alira's resolve to use their situation to advocate for peace and understanding between their species. Despite the sanctuary they had found, the outside world remained in turmoil. The news of Tali's existence continued to stir widespread debate across the galaxy. Some saw her as a symbol of hope, a bridge between worlds, while others viewed her as a threat to their cultural and biological purity. To counter the negative sentiment and to educate the galaxy about their unique family, Marcus and Alira decided to launch a series of public broadcasts. They shared insights into their daily lives, Tali's development, and the scientific significance of her existence. These broadcasts were met with incredible interest, drawing attention from across the galactic community. One broadcast in particular struck a chord. It featured Tali playing with both human and Tashavi children via a virtual interface, demonstrating that children of different species could interact with innocence and acceptance. This visual struck a powerful message. Innate biases could be overcome, and coexistence was possible. As Tali's third birthday approached, Marcus and Alira planned a public celebration to be streamed galaxy-wide, intending it as a platform to promote unity. They invited diplomats, scientists, and leaders from various species to attend virtually, hoping to foster dialogue and decrease hostilities. The event was a beautiful mosaic of cultures and species, with messages of goodwill and support pouring in. Tali, oblivious to the significance of the occasion, delighted in the attention and the chance to play with new friends. During the event, Marcus gave a speech that he had prepared for weeks. Today we celebrate not just the birth of our daughter, but the potential birth of a new era, an era where the lines that divide us become less important than the ties that bind us in our shared journey through the cosmos. His words, heartfelt and sincere, resonated with many, echoing across social media platforms and news channels. The speech sparked a new wave of support for interspecies cooperation. Educational programs and diplomatic initiatives began to incorporate their story as a case study, advocating for a more inclusive approach to interspecies relations. However, not everyone was moved by the call for unity. A faction of radicals, both human and Tashavi, formed an alliance to stop what they considered the dilution of their species. They launched a series of cyber attacks aimed at silencing Marcus and Alira's broadcasts. But each attempt was met with robust defense systems, prepared in advance by their supporters, who were dedicated to protecting their right to speak. Amid these challenges, a significant breakthrough came when a group of genetic researchers published a study inspired by Tali's case. They had discovered unique enzymes in Tali's DNA that could potentially lead to medical advancements in treating diseases prevalent in both humans and Tashavi. This revelation added a new layer of importance to Tali's existence, showcasing the tangible benefits of interspecies unity beyond the ideological. With this scientific endorsement, resistance to their cause began to wane. Schools started to teach about genetic diversity and the benefits of interspecies understanding. Slowly but surely, public opinion shifted. Marcus and Alira, once viewed with suspicion and fear, were now increasingly seen as pioneers on the frontier of a new understanding. As they watched their daughter play, her laughter a symbol of hope and joy, they knew they had ignited a change that would grow beyond their wildest dreams. Their journey was far from over, but as they looked to the future, they were filled with a cautious optimism. The birth of their daughter had sparked a potential renaissance in interspecies relations, and they were ready to lead the way forward, no matter what challenges lay ahead. Years passed, and the galaxy watched as Tali grew from a symbol into a spokesperson for interspecies harmony. Now a young child, her unique heritage served as a living testament to the possibilities that unity between different civilizations could bring. Under the careful guidance of Marcus and Alira, Tali learned to navigate her complex identity, embracing both her human and Tashavi heritage with pride. As Tali's influence grew, so did her parents' initiative to promote peace and understanding. Marcus and Alira continued their public outreach, organizing conferences and workshops that brought together leaders, scientists, and citizens from various species. Their efforts were bolstered by the growing body of scientific research that underscored the benefits of genetic and cultural diversity. One such conference, held on a neutral space station, was a historic gathering. It was here that the Charter of Galactic Unity was drafted, a document advocating for the rights and recognition of mixed-species individuals and promoting policies that encouraged interspecies cooperation. The charter was a result of years of advocacy, negotiation, and hard work, and as Marcus watched representatives from multiple worlds sign it, he felt an overwhelming sense of accomplishment and hope. During the signing ceremony, Tali, now articulate and poised, gave a speech that was broadcast across the galaxy. "Today, we are not just signing a document," she said, her voice steady and clear. "We are opening a door to a future where no one has to hide their heritage, where everyone can share their unique strengths for the betterment of all. This is our new dawn." The response was overwhelmingly positive. Systems that had once been closed off began to reconsider their stances on interspecies interactions. Educational programs expanded, including curriculums that focused on galactic diversity and the history of interspecies relations, much of it inspired by Tali's story. However, the journey was not without its challenges. Despite the progress, some factions remained entrenched in their old prejudices, causing occasional conflicts and setbacks. But Marcus and Alira, seasoned by years of struggle, continued to advocate for dialogue and education over confrontation. Meanwhile, Tali's unique biology continued to intrigue scientists. Research conducted on her genetic makeup led to breakthroughs in medical technology, particularly in the field of genetic diseases. This practical benefit helped sway many skeptics, who could not deny the tangible advantages that interspecies cooperation brought. Marcus and Alira, now older and wiser, began to step back from the forefront of the movement, allowing Tali and her generation to lead. They spent their days in a quiet part of the galaxy, a beautiful world that was a mosaic of human and Tashavi cultures, a living example of the unity they had fought for. One evening, as they watched a sunset that painted the sky with colors no single species could claim as their own, Marcus turned to Alira. "Did you ever imagine we would see this day?" he asked, his voice full of wonder. Alira smiled, her eyes reflecting the hues of the twilight. "I hoped," she replied simply. "And sometimes, hope is the strongest force there is." Their lives, once marked by uncertainty and fear, had blossomed into something beautiful. Through their daughter, their love, and their unwavering belief in the potential for unity, they had helped forge a new era for the galaxy, an era of coexistence and shared futures. As the stars began to twinkle in the evening sky, Marcus, Alira, and Tali stood together, a family united not just by blood, but by a vision of a galaxy where every species, every individual, could find their place. The new dawn they had dreamt of was no longer a distant hope, but a vibrant reality, and their hearts were full as they faced whatever new adventures awaited them.